Hello internet people, and Blizzard has struck again. We have a fun little article over here. Ex-Blizzard boss suggests that players should be able to tip the devs of a special games. Now this to me is just an insane thing to ask for multiple reasons, which we're going to get into in the video. First, let's start off by subscribing to the channel. I'm sorry about that. For real though. First, let's start by reading off the article, and we'll be checking out his tweets as well to confirm everything that we see in the article. The article has been posted by IGN, and as always, I will have links in the description. The former boss of Blizzard Entertainment has suggested a post-purchase tip feature that would let players give $10 or $20 extra to developers of special games. Now, again, I don't understand why you're asking for an extra $10 to $20 for doing your job. I mean, it's insane to me, especially with the price of games. Let's take a quick little look at Star Wars Outlaws, our favorite new single-player game. And let's look at the prices over here. You have the base game at $89.99. Yes, I understand games cost more to make, but that's because developers are choosing to make them more expensive, not the players. So that's kind of a you thing, not a me thing, but let's continue. Then we have the Gold Edition for $144.99, which is an extra $60. Actually, well, $55 if you want to be specific. It's an extra $55. That's your tip. Oh, well, we're giving you guys a bunch of digital content. Something it takes time to make, but once it's been made, you can have an infinite number of these and just sell them at no extra cost to yourself, to my knowledge. It doesn't stop there, however. We have $169.99 for the Ultimate Edition. So then again, that is another $80 that you're asking me to fork out. That's your tip, because you're giving me a bunch of digital content. And then also you can subscribe for $19.99 a month. Now, I don't have problem tipping because I worked in the service industry for a very long time. People were not tipping me because of the food they ate. They tipped me because of the service I provided. Now, games are a product, not a service. So why are you guys trying to keep treating it like a service? First of all, when you buy a game, you don't even own it anymore. If you buy it on the PlayStation Store, you're buying the permission to use the license for as long as Sony has it, which makes it feel much more like a service, not a product. Now you're asking me to tip, which again, I'm fine with doing for a service and not a product. You wouldn't tip your salesman at a car dealership. You wouldn't tip the person who's selling you a house. You wouldn't tip the dollar store clerk. You don't do any of these things. Why? Because you're going in there and you're buying a product, not a service. Games, especially single-player games, are products, not services, which is why I'm not going to tip you for your freaking game. So that was a bit of a tangent. Let's go back. Former Blizzard president Mike Ybarra tweeted that he often felt that upon completion of particular enjoyable single-player games, he'd like to give more money to developers because it is worth more than my initial $70 and they didn't try to nickel and dime me every second. I'm just saying. Most games are trying to take every single nickel and dime you have, especially in modern day gaming. It is egregious, the monetization practices that a lot of these companies practice, like Blizzard. So let's just take a quick look at his tweets, and then we're going to go back to the article, and we're going to also read some of the comments in the tweets. I've thought of this idea for a while as a player since I've been diving into single player games lately. When I beat a game, there are some that are just leave me in awe of how amazing the experience was at the end of the game. I've often thought, wish I could give these folks another $10 or $20 because it's worth more than the initial $70 and they didn't try to nickel and dime me every second. Games like Horizon Zero Dawn, which is crazy because that game was trash. God of War, I understand. I would still not tip them an extra $10. Red Dead Redemption 2, I haven't played that. Baldur's Gate 3 might be the only game I would ever tip because of how polished it came out. But even at that, Larian Studio would never ask for a tip. Elden Ring, etc. I know $70 is already a lot, funny coming from a CEO of a multi-million-dollar company, but it's an option at the end of the game I wish I had at times. Some games are that special. Fun fact, if you go to a restaurant and the food is garbage, you can get your money back. They'll just refund you because it's a service. Are you guys going to be doing that with your games as well? If you're adding a tip option, probably not. I know most will dislike this idea. By the way, I realize we are tired of tipping in everything else, but I view this different from a pressure to tip type scenario many face and give feedback on. Yeah, I think tipping culture has gotten way out of hand in the West. It's like you go to Benny and Co and they're asking you to tip. You go to Subway, like, hey, bro, like you're making me, like, you're not giving me a service. You're making me a sandwich and then you're giving me the sandwich. I was a waiter for 7 years. I worked in the restaurant industry for a total of 15 years. Making a sandwich behind a counter at Subway and serving a group of 45 people is not the same thing. It's just not the same. Read a couple of comments over here, and if I don't like the game, they gave me my money back. Probably not gonna be doing that. On Steam, you have up to 2 hours to return games, no questions asked. I've done it several times. That's the closest I've seen. Helps with things like bad launch issues, etc. So this is not a, is the game bad, are you gonna refund me? This is Steam gives you a 2-hour trial, so you don't have to buy the game. So this is not really tackling the question is, would you refund us if the game was trash? How about the large gaming corporations treat their employees fairly instead of throwing money at their shareholders? Games you've mentioned don't have shareholders, that's why they're good. Blizzard is one of the worst for putting shareholders' profits above quality and employees. Some people are dunking on this, but I'm going to agree. F microtransactions and coal behind dollars, but if I could like tip $50 to the creators behind some chess kiss touches, I would. Dragonomics 2, despite its flaws, just had some amazing moments. I guess not everyone is completely against this idea as much as I am, but I can say the general consensus is that most people do not want a tipping function in their video games for the aforementioned reason. And obviously, if you just paid your people the money that they're supposed to make, it wouldn't be an issue. So let's go back to the IGN article. It's fair to say the reaction to the suggestion is mixed, with many people saying that they're already forking out plenty of money for video games. Others have pointed out that the same game platform, such as itch.io, already allows tips, and that small indie developers often use established platforms for donation. If an indie developer, 4-man team on their page is like, hey, we have a donation button here, that's not an issue for me, because it's on their webpage, it's on their website, it's not like in my face. And that I'm more than happy to do. I've bought so many Founders Packs over the year. I've bought so many of them. I bought the Founders Pack for Fortnite before the Battle Royale mode was out. I got it for V Rising. I got it for some other game on PlayStation, some game where you play like as a god or whatever. I can't really remember. But I've bought the Founders Packs for a lot of games, and I'm happy to do so when the game is worth it. But you adding an actual tip function at the end of my game, like this is the end of a meal, I think is just extremely distasteful. Many have also pointed out that any extra revenue generated through tips would invariably end up in the pockets of publishers, as opposed to the developers themselves, at least for the majority of AAA releases. And if such a system were to hit the like Steam's, the PlayStation Store, or the Xbox Store, would Valve, Sony, and Microsoft all expect a cut? Of course they would expect a cut, which is why I would never tip on the PlayStation Store or Steam Store or Valve Store, whatever you want to call it. If the developers have a website of their own where they're accepting donations and have Founders Packs, that I'm open to. But as I said, Sony, Xbox, Valve, they'll all be taking a cut, and most of the money is probably never even going to go to the developers, let's face it. That's where we're going to end it for today, guys. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Would you be okay with tipping in video games? I am 100% against it. Let me know how you feel in the comment section down below. And while you're down there, be sure to like, favorite, share, and ding that notification bell. Don't forget also subscribe. I am trying to hit 1,000 subscribers for the end of the year, something I literally cannot do without you guys. And if you don't want to help, well, remember, at the end of the day, I'm just some guy on the internet, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.